Hey guys, big updates to share since the last video. So let's get right into it. So in the last video, I said that I did an initial rank map check of the business, and I did this check on the 21st of May. Now this is before I did anything with the online presence. So I hadn't optimized the profile, no website, no other technical SEO, anything like that. And as expected, his business is invisible, right? 20 plus in all the areas that he was based in, basically not ranking anywhere. Now, from 21st of May till 30th of May, so just 9 days later, I did only one thing. I optimized his profile, and the results absolutely even shocked me. So first, in just 9 days, he went from being invisible whenever someone searches rendering services, right? Invisible, unseen, to now having his own little bubble where he's ranking 1, 2, or 3, and also top 3, 20, just over 20% of the time, right? And this is for rendering services near me. And even better, for his main service, which is Venetian Plaster services, he literally now dominates most of the area in southwestern Sydney, right? With a just over 60% top 3. And you can see it's like from this to that. It's amazing. And this is all in 9 days. And all I've done so far was optimize the Google business profile, right? Now, this is all well and good, but we have even better news, because obviously these heat maps are purely a measure and indicator of progress. At the end of the day, what matters is this getting him results? And results are calls and leads. And we're happy to say that just a few days ago, and it's currently the 11th of June, he got his first lead from Google. Now, because I haven't set everything up, I wasn't able to track. And so I've been manually in Google business profile and the Google tells us, right? And he finally got his first lead. And here you can see it. It's a call from Google. I called them up to see, who called you up? What did they call him? What did they call you for? And he told me they were looking for a certain job, and now he's in negotiations with them. And so that's exactly what we're trying to do, which is these SEO, all of these online presence stuff that we're doing. The end goal is to get calls and leads. And the fact that we've been able to do this in just 3 weeks, and really all I've done is optimize the Google business profile, shows you how important the Google business profile optimization is and how effective it can be. Now, obviously, one of the reasons, just analyzing his market and things like that, one of the reasons he is able to rank so fast and even get results this fast is because it shows that the competition isn't as strong, meaning other rendering businesses don't do or set up their online presence as best as they could, which means whoever does do it properly going to compete and start ranking very, very quickly. So which is good for us. Now, how did I do that? How did I optimize this profile to get him these results? I'll go through the main things that I do and just briefly run through them and what are the basically best practices so you can implement them for your businesses as well. So there's 5 factors to ranking your... So there's 5 factors when it comes to optimizing your Google business profile so you can rank on Google. The first one is making sure that your profile is completely filled out. The second is services. The third is products. The fourth is Google reviews, and the last are photos. So these are just like a general overview if you were to categorize them into 5. Now I'll go through each one through his profile, and I'll show you exactly what I did for each one so you can implement them as well. So starting with profile. So when you go to the section where you can manage your business profile, you can click on this, edit profile. And here, the general idea is you just want to fill everything up. You don't want to leave anything. You want to fill it up. And so going through each one, business name, I entered his business name, pretty straightforward. Business category, this is super, super important. Whatever you put as your primary business category is what Google will primarily categorize your business as, And so the general idea is you want to look at the businesses that are already ranking what you do on Google. And then you look at their categories. So what do they put as their primary categories? You look at the best businesses, what do they put as their primary category? That's usually what you want to go for. And likewise, you also want to find what are their secondary categories, and then you want to add that there based on the businesses that are ranking doing, and also what are you doing. So if you do services that they don't do, then you want to look at businesses that do your services, and what other categories do they add that matches that service. And so that's how I did this. And then description, I just want to make sure that you talk about your business. Discussions on whether or not keywords about the services that you do and the areas that you do helps you rank here. But regardless, you want to just, as user friendly as possible. The focus here is just on someone who's trying to learn about your business, and you want to make sure the description gives them an adequate amount of information about your business. And you want to make sure it's around 750 words, because that's the limit that Google gives us. Opening date. So I didn't add this here actually, but the general best practice is you want to add the date on average of when you first did your first job. And this is because sometimes when you do a search for a service, when Google shows those businesses on the Google Map pack, sometimes includes the number of years they've been in business. And so you can imagine if there's 3 businesses and one of them is like 5 years in business, 7 years in business, and then the third one or first one is 25 years in business. That's going to help conversions. That's going to, trust in someone who's trying to pick. So that's the benefit of adding your opening date there. Then you add the phone number. You add the phone number that people can, SMS in. We create the website and we launch that. We're going to add that there. Absolutely important to add that there if you already have it. Your social profiles. He only had Instagram page at the time, so I added it there. So you want to make sure you connect your social media profiles here, because the more profiles that you can add, the more Google can connect your business through multiple places, which helps with building trust for business with Google, which, as we said in the last video, is very important, a major factor in how well Google ranks your business. And then location and areas. Since he's a service area business, what I did is I just briefly went through all the major areas that he serves in Sydney and just added them there. You don't want to do too much. Just find the major places and you want to add them there. And then opening hours. So he says he's available 24 hours. So I added that there. The only thing you have to be careful here is you want to try and be open as much as possible, because you can imagine if people aren't going to be available at night, right? So if your business is available at night, then Google knows that. So businesses that Google says they're not open at night, they're not going to rank at night. If your business is open at that time, that's an additional advantage for you to rank. The only thing you have to be careful of is Google knows whether or not you answer calls or not. So if you say you're available 24 hours, you better make sure you're answering calls at any time, because if you don't, Google, and this is a repeating occurrence, then Google won't rank you, and it will see that, well, this business is not really reliable at this time, so they're not really as, for Google searches, so I'm not going to rank them as high. So making sure, so you want to be as open as much as possible, but also making sure that whatever time you put, you're able to answer calls in that time window. Special hours, the general practice, I didn't do it, but sometimes you want to add, Christmas, Easter, or any of the special holidays, whether or not the business is working, you just want to add those hours there. Online operating hours, pretty much the same as, hours. And add more hours. I usually skip these. I didn't see them as relevant. And then usually just some additional information about the business. So I just through them and tick whichever one is relevant to the business. And so the idea behind this first part with the profile is you just want to fill it up much as possible. And then that pretty much concludes that part. All right. So the next part is services. So this is super important. So there is a section here called Edit Services. And what you want to do, this is important, you want to basically get and add all the services that the business does. And you want to list them, one, under the relevant category. So before we have added the categories of the business, the primary category and the secondary categories. And what you can do is, as you're adding the services, you can add them under which category best fits that service. And this is important because Google then ties service to the appropriate category. And so when someone is searching, it can better match search results based on how well you organize this. And so the way I usually do this, I usually work with AI, to be honest. So what I'll do, once I set the category, I get AI to go through the services that client tells me that they do, and then it helps me categorize them into the appropriate category. So it takes all the services, and you want to make sure the services are written in a way that people will search them. And then AI will help me categorize them into the appropriate category, and I'll just add them there. And you want to be as detailed as possible. You can see I literally added all the possible services, and so pretty much you can use AI to do this, and it'll help you. So just give it all the categories, and then it will categorize the services accordingly. And the next one is products. So this one, you notice it's here. So if you scroll down here, the idea is that you want to take the major services that the business does, and you want to turn them into products. And so how do you do that? You go to edit products. and you can essentially add a product like this. So I will take the major services and I'll add them as products. I'll enter the service, the major service name, the category. So I would create a category called services, and then I'll usually get AI to write a description here too. And then once we build the website, we'll actually connect the specific service page here as well, so Google can tie them together. And then I usually add the logo here, so then it looks really clean and nice at the end when we upload them. So that's another thing, adding the major services that the business does into products. And so you want to do only major, so you don't want to do a lot of these, maybe 5, 6, that's usually a good amount. And so pretty simple, and that's how I do that part. And then reviews. So this is super important. Google reviews are like a major factor, and it needs to be said, like if someone is trying to pick a business, one that has more reviews is going to be the one that looks more credible, pretty straightforward. And so I hammer this home whenever I'm working with someone, which is that the only thing you have to do is get reviews. I'll do all the technical stuff, but you have to get reviews. And so since we've started, he's been reaching out to all his past clients, his past builders that he's worked with, to try and leave him reviews. So we're hoping this number grows. And this is super important that you're getting consistent reviews, because when you get consistent reviews, then Google sees that, oh, you're a business that's consistently getting reviews, which means you're active. And so that's a ranking signal about business. And so it needs not be said, but one of the most important things you can do is to get reviews and get it consistently. So that's that. And then the last one is photos. So what I've done, I actually use a tool to do this. What the tool currently doing is I asked him to give me all the photos of his work. And through the tool, I use a tool called, it's actually escaped me right now. But yeah, I use a tool, LeadSnap. Yes, LeadSnap. So I use a tool, takes all the photos, I upload the photos, and it literally just posts the photos onto his profile every couple of days. And so that way we have photos that are consistently being added for the next few months. And photos is important because they also show Google that you're an active business, you're consistently adding new photos. And so if you don't have a tool or anything like that, then what you can do is just making sure that you're manually adding photos. You don't want to add all your photos at once. Maybe you want to do 10 a day, and then maybe you do one every couple of days. And you just want to make sure, just like reviews, you want to make sure you're adding photos on a consistent basis. And so you add photos, you add your logo, you add your cover, just fill this out as well. And so that pretty much concludes the 5 things that I did to help get the business to where it is right now. And as I said, from literally being invisible to now, 1, ranking 3 most of the time for Venetian plaster around the southwestern part of Sydney, 2, ranking decently well, has his own bubble now for rendering services near me, and already has his first lead all in under 3 weeks. So what's next? And what you can expect in the next video is we're going to go through the website that I'm building. Is pretty much nearly done. We'll go through the website, why I build the website like I do, and the tips that you can take when you're setting up or building your website, so you can, number 1, rank on Google, helps you rank on Google, and 2, help you convert people who visit the website into leads and calls. And so again, the end goal is we want to continue growing this bubble. We want to make sure that it's all green. We want to make him dominate the entire area, as this will naturally translate into more calls and leads. And what I've done is I actually realized after he started ranking that his center area is a little bit different to where it currently is. So I've switched that a little bit. So the rank map is more accurate, and I've also made it automated. So right now it's pretty much an automatic heat map check of his business every single week. So as I'm making changes and I'm website, adding the website, doing all the other technical SEO stuff we'll be covering later videos, I can see how those are, rankings over time. And so that's the plan, and I'll be keeping you guys updated with the video so you can see exactly how the things that I'm doing are improving his online presence. And also, in addition to tracking, we tracked rendering services near me and plastering services because that's his main service, but he also does acrylic rendering, DPC, injection, damp proofing. So we'll also start tracking those, and on how we can make sure that when people search those services, he's also ranking as well, and we can see how our efforts are translating into results. So that's the goal. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.